Hi, friends. This is your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Darkspace, a Dungeons & Dragons competitor created by Derek White and Than Gibson, and I'm going to tell you about what I learned from Derek White directly, the creator of the game, at EcclesiaCon 2025, which happened in Palmyra, New Jersey, and was put on by Wesley Allen. He's the pastor there at a Baptist church, and he actually holds a tabletop role-playing convention at his church, which is astounding. That is extremely rare. Most Baptist churches you would not be able to hold a table. I don't know of any Baptist church where you'd be able to hold a tabletop role-playing game convention on site. That's wild, right? But Derek White is the creator of Darkspace, and he created Darkspace, and he flew from Tennessee, where he lives, right, to Palmyra, New Jersey, and then went to and then ran Darkspace for Wesley Allen at the convention. The game filled immediately. It had 6 players, and he ran it on Sunday, the third day of the convention, and I was at that table, and it was truly epic. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is what I learned about the creation of Darkspace, and the reason why we're talking about it is all this has to do with Kelsey, Dionne, and Shadowdark. All right, so I sit down, and I'm early, and I'm talking with Derek, and some other players are coming, and people are asking about the game, right? So he shows the copy of the game, and I asked, where is this in development? Because a lot of these games, people are running them for years before they ever really hit the shelf, right? But Darkspace is finished, and it's printed, and it's done, and you can buy it. And actually, you can't buy it right now, not in a conventional sense. That's an entire discussion. You can get it on DriveThruRPG, and you can get it on DMing the World, the site direct. But you will not find this on any FLGS shelf, and there's a good chance you will never find it on a friendly local game shop shelf ever, right? And that's why I want to talk to you today. The games that are winning today, and I really think Darkspace is a winning game. Anything connected. Darkspace is the first game to come out using the Shadowdark system, to my knowledge. There might be other ones, but I ain't heard of them. But Darkspace is real, and it's at scale, and it's in print, right? Like, it's been printed. You can't buy the print copy off of any shelf, anywhere. You can't buy it at FLGS. You cannot buy it at Barnes & Noble. You cannot buy it at Target. You cannot buy it at any independent bookstore. You can't buy it anywhere, literally nowhere, right? And this is why we're talking, right? Because the business decisions connected to Shadowdark are shocking, are absolutely shocking. Right now, Shadowdark is the game with the most vibe, the most passion, the most momentum. It's not, Dungeons & Dragons is the #1 value game in the world. Shadowdark is the #1 vibe game in the world, the one that people think is cool, right? And then I would say that Outgunned is the #1 value tabletop role-playing game in the world. And that's a different discussion. I'm going to leave that off here, right? But here's what I want you to understand, right? I was shocked to understand this. So I'm talking to Derek, and he has the book. He has the book, right? The printed book. Now, this is what I want. I want the printed book, but I can't get it, right? I'm never going to be able to buy it off of a friendly local game shop shelf, and that's how I buy old school rule books, right? You can't do it, and I already know from information that Kelsey Dionne gave at GaryCon 2025 that that there's less than a 1% chance I will ever see this on any friendly local game shop ever. So I'm almost never going. There's less than a 1% chance I will ever own this game ever, right? It's just because it's impossible for me to get, right? So I'm sitting there. The guy who made the book is right there, right? And so he said, and he holds up the book, and because I said, where is this in the development? He's like, it's done, it's printed, right? And he holds it up, right? I'm like, ooh. I literally said, ooh, like, like somebody had held up like a lasagna, like to Garfield, like I'm like, I want that, right? And I did. I wanted that. Every single person at the table wanted that. And the guy's like, oh, and one of the guys is like, oh, hey, can I get a hardback, bigger version of that, right? Like, and he goes, you know what? And Derek White said this. I could not believe this, right? Listen to this. So this guy has the science fiction game that is based off of Shadowdark. Shadowdark is the hottest game on the streets right now. And he has the right product at the right time. If you love Shadowdark, you can now play Shadowdark with Sci-Fi. He's created it. It's right there. It's real, right? He says he takes the book and he folds it in half, right, like perpendicular to the spine, and he shoves it in his back pocket. And he says, this is why we created this book this way, right? Answering this guy he's like, hey, can you give me the traditional size D&D book, hardback, right? And he's like, we made this. And so he's talking about Than Gibson and himself made this soft cover book that's about this. It's smaller than a trade paperback. It was only like 6 inches by maybe like 7 inches by 4 inches, right? And he goes, we made this so you could do what we did back in the old days. Fold it in half and shove it in your back pocket. And my face went slack. I was like, what? Or I was like, and I literally couldn't talk for 15 seconds. And I was like, and then I recomposed myself and I was like, I own 3 libraries of tabletop role-playing game books, and I would never purposely crease a single one of them. I have books that I have driven to other states to buy used from people who pulled them out of attics. The idea that I would fold any of my valued tabletop role-playing games and shove it in the back of my pocket I can't even imagine doing it. And so I was like, and then I just shut my mouth and I literally could not look him in the eyes any longer, because I'm like, I just felt in my heart, and I know he's not an idiot, right? But I'm like, this is the stupidest possible action you could take right now, right? You have the hottest product tied to the hottest product. Every person at this table would pay you $100 cash to take the book out of your hand, and you made it so that it could, and your entire point on the printing of the book would be so that you could fold it in half and shove it in the back of your pocket like it's the 80s. And I'm like, you ridiculous, ignorant fool. Like, what made you think that was what people wanted in Darkspace? A jank copy of a ridiculous book that could be folded in half like a track, like a Jack Trick track, and shoved in the back of their pocket. No one needs that. No one asked for that. That was not on the checkbox of anything anyone wanted, right? Like, why did you do this, right? And this is what drives me, why I'm pulling my hair out because of Shadowdark. I weep at night for the fate of Shadowdark, right? Every single business decision connected to Shadowdark and now Darkspace is the wrong decision that serves no one and is so stupid, it's difficult to even understand. The decisions are stupid. The people are not stupid. I met Derek White. He's a brilliant man. He's a very kind man. But this decision was outrageously, ridiculously, forged in iron stupid. It is the stupidest thing you could possibly do, right? And because he was stupid in the manufacturing and creation of Darkspace, he could not sell anyone the copy in his hand and had no copies in his bag, because the distribution of Darkspace is the truly cursed, just so you're aware, Kelsey Dionne created cursed scrolls, and what she cursed was every person who ever wants to buy a print copy of Shadowdark or Darkspace, because you cannot buy it off of a friendly local game shop, right? So these people dedicated to old school are making decisions, which means there's no possibility that an old school distribution or even a traditional distribution of the game is ever possible, right? They have made the print copies of this rare as hen's teeth and have made outrageously, ridiculously stupid decisions to make sure that this game is highly inaccessible. And it makes me weep crocodile tears. I am so sad that I could not just buy the book from him. That the value of that book should be $20, right? I would have gladly given him 60, right? Triple the value, but he could not do it because his goal in printing the book was to make something that someone could fold perpendicular to the spine and shove in the back of their jeans. Literally no one in the world wanted that. No one, right? And also anyone who would be stupid enough to want that would never be able to read it or to get the money to buy it, right? So he made his number one checkbox on creation of the book was an attribute that guarantees it will never get into the hands of the people who want it most. And I'm not saying that. I'm telling you, I was at a table with 6 people who would have gladly given him triple retail for any book he would sell them, and he had nothing, because the business decisions connected to Shadowdark are the stupidest choices you could possibly make, made by brilliant people, right? And I'm going to end this with saying Kelsey Dionne has made this work. I don't know how. I really don't know how people love her game when she makes these terrible, terrible business decisions, but they do. Every single word you just heard is my unbelievably painful experience of encountering Derek White at EcclesiaCon 2025 in a Baptist church in Palmyra, New Jersey, and is nothing more than my humble, every single word of it is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.